Michael sat alone in the dim living room, staring at the shadows stretching across the walls. Just hours earlier his wife Claire had walked out, not with shouting, not with slammed doors. Just a suitcase, a quiet goodbye, and the sound of her footsteps fading into a silence heavier than any argument they had ever had. He replayed her last moments, but everything felt blurry, except the soft zip of her bag and the ache that followed. The house felt wrong without her. The smiling photos on the mantel, birthdays, vacations, promises, suddenly felt like they belonged to strangers. He picked up one frame and traced Claire's smile with his thumb, wondering when that smile stopped being for him. The signs were there. The quiet dinners, the nights she stayed late at work, the way she looked through him instead of at him. He had ignored it all, believing love would be enough. Now he sat with the truth. She was gone. And he was alone. He walked into the kitchen and froze when he saw 2 untouched coffee mugs. He had made her one that morning, hoping it might soften her mood. She didn't even take a sip. As he poured the coffee down the sink, watching it swirl away felt like watching the last pieces of his marriage disappear. He sat on the couch, chest tight, breathing uneven. He wanted to call someone, anyone, but the words wouldn't come. Who would understand? He barely understood it himself. Then the doorbell rang. Michael froze. A foolish part of him hoped it was Claire. But he knew better. She wasn't the type to leave and return moments later. When he opened the door, his breath caught. Evelyn. Claire's mother. She stood in a simple cardigan, carrying a small bag, her expression calm but her eyes full of quiet concern. Michael, she said softly. May I come in? He stepped aside, stunned. He expected anger, blame, accusations. Instead, she walked in gently, as if she came not to judge, but to understand. They sat in the living room, the same room that had felt unbearably empty moments before. Michael finally whispered, "She's gone." "I know," Evelyn replied. "She called me before she left." His throat tightened. "Then you know she doesn't want this anymore." Evelyn paused, choosing her words. "Sometimes people leave not because they don't care," she said gently, "but because they no longer know how to stay. Claire is searching for something, and that wasn't something you could fix alone." Michael blinked, stunned. He expected blame. Instead, she offered comfort, unexpected and disarming. For the first time that night, the silence in the house felt less suffocating. Evelyn didn't pry. She didn't lecture. She simply sat there, offering the one thing he didn't realize he needed: companionship. And somewhere in the middle of his heartbreak, Michael noticed something in her eyes, something unspoken. He brushed it away, assuming it was his pain making him imagine things. But one question lingered. Why had she come tonight? And what else did she know that he didn't? Evelyn waited, patient and calm, as though she knew silence could heal what words couldn't. But Michael couldn't sit still. He tried speaking, but every sentence broke apart in his throat. Finally, Evelyn spoke. "Michael, I didn't come here to blame you. I came because you're hurting. And no one should face a night like this alone." Her kindness hit him harder than anger ever could. "I loved Claire," Michael said suddenly, voice cracking. "I tried. Maybe I wasn't enough." Evelyn leaned forward, voice steady. "Don't say that. You gave her love, stability, a home. People drift when they're searching inward, not because the person beside them failed." Her words loosened something inside him. "Then why does it feel like I've lost everything?" he whispered. "Because you gave your whole heart," she said softly, "and losing someone you invested in always hurts the deepest. But don't let this convince you that you are less." Michael felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in months. The night unfolded gently as he opened up about the growing distance, the late nights, the hollow feeling he kept ignoring. Evelyn listened, never judging, never interrupting. "You should hate me," he murmured. "I don't," she said firmly. "I know your heart. You were good to Claire. Someone needed to remind you of that." Her words felt like a lifeline. Later, she made tea in the kitchen with a quiet familiarity that warmed the room. When she handed him the steaming cup, Michael felt a calm he hadn't felt in a long time. "You deserve peace," she told him. And in that warm lamplight, he caught himself noticing the kindness in her eyes, the strength in her voice, the warmth Claire had lost somewhere along the way. He didn't know what it meant. Maybe she didn't either. But hope, small, fragile, returned. When she finally stood to leave, she placed a gentle hand over his. "Just a moment." just enough to remind him someone still cared. And as the door closed behind her, the silence felt different, lighter, maybe even survivable. In the following weeks, Evelyn became the quiet anchor Michael didn't know he needed. She brought meals, helped around the house, and filled the empty rooms with conversation and warmth. He looked forward to her visits more than he dared admit. Her presence didn't just fill the silence, it healed it. One Friday evening she arrived with a casserole, her smile soft. "You didn't have to," he said. "I wanted to," she replied. They ate together, talked, laughed, real laughter. The house felt alive again. The fire crackled as they shared stories about the past, his childhood, her memories of raising Claire. At one point, Evelyn smiled, shaking her head. "It's been so long since I've laughed like this." Michael felt something shift in himself. Me too, he thought. As she stood to leave, their eyes met, too long, too honest. When their hands brushed, warmth shot through him. He didn't want her to go. Later in bed, he replayed every moment. He tried to tell himself it was nothing. But deep down he knew something was changing. What if the person who understood him most wasn't the one who left, but the one who stayed? The next afternoon a knock came. When he opened the door, Evelyn stood there. No dish, no flowers, just a serious look. "Can I come in?" she asked. They sat. Silence thick. Finally she spoke. "I didn't come these past weeks just because Claire asked me to check on you. I came because I wanted to." Michael's breath caught. Evelyn stepped closer. "You reminded me of something I thought I lost. The feeling of being seen. I care about you." The room seemed to freeze. He whispered, "Evelyn, are you saying?" "Yes." Her voice trembled but didn't break. "Not as Claire's husband. Not as someone broken. As you." Michael's heart pounded. "People will never understand. You're her mother." "Life doesn't follow rules," she said softly. "Love grows where it chooses." He sank onto the couch. She sat beside him, close but not touching. "If you don't feel the same," she whispered, "I'll step back. But you deserve to know." Michael thought of Claire. Of the empty house. Then of Evelyn, her warmth, her understanding, the laughter by the fire. Finally he spoke. "I feel it too." Evelyn's eyes glistened. "Then we take it one step at a time. No expectations. No rush." She reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. The house no longer felt like a graveyard of memories. It felt like the fragile start of something new. "Maybe," Michael whispered, "when one chapter closes, another really does begin." Evelyn squeezed his hand gently. "Yes," she whispered, "even if it begins in the most unexpected way." And together they sat in the soft glow of the fading fire, letting the past settle, while the future quietly unfolded.